what is AI SOC in today's world?
We can do more with AI, and it should be an entire life cycle strategy, not just triaging, but also in detections.
When you look at something like AI, especially from a security operations perspective, you want those team members to have the best access to tools.
You're giving them a leverage.
You're giving someone a superpower.
What's different now with vibe coding is that it's just happening at a much faster scale. This is an example of why we need to rethink our strategy and why SOC in 2026 looks different from SOC in 2020.
What's going on, Hacker Valley fam? Welcome back to the show. I gotta say, we are living in a moment right now where the conversation around AI and cybersecurity has completely changed. It's changed so much. And if you look back at the Hacker Valley Studio catalog from 2025, all the guests that I had over 70 guests on, and every single one of them said, there's not a chance that I would trust my AI to do the things that I do, only for things like summarization, but not for agency. Well, I'm here to tell you that everything has changed over the past year. It's 2026, and now people are giving agents full control. We had no idea that we were going to see the adversary use AI the way that they did. We had no idea that AI agents were going to outpace and outclass software engineers. So we're going to be talking all about the layers of agentic, especially from the cybersecurity and the SOC perspective. So without further ado, roll the intro.
Who says tech can't be human?
Before we jump in, here are three things that I've been watching from this past month that sets the table for today's conversation. It's time to hack the headlines. Number one, Shiny Hunters is having a month, and I don't mean that lightly. Charter Communications, a very big company, the company behind Spectrum, had 40 million customer records leaked this month after refusing to pay Shiny Hunters ransom. The entry point to all of this was a vishing call, which, if you don't know what vishing is, it's a voice phishing. One employee got social engineered over the phone. Their Microsoft Entra account got compromised, and Shiny Hunters walked right into Charter's Salesforce instance. They took literally everything. They took names, addresses, phones, plan details, support ticket data, and they took 40 million records, all from a vishing phone call. Number two is also Shiny Hunters. They've had a very busy month. They've been at it and they're back at it as well. They went after an unpatched Oracle PeopleSoft vulnerability. This unpatched vulnerability was out for some time, and it took them a little bit of time to patch it, June 10th to be specific. Oracle rated this vulnerability a 9.8 out of 10. It didn't require login. It only required network access. And if you think about environments that don't require you to log in per se to be on the network, but have a big network, universities were hit really hard by this specific vulnerability. And I think that the lesson is very clear here. You got to patch on the timeline when it comes out, and you also have to put compensating controls when there is no patch. So lessons have been learned. And number three, Microsoft's June Patch Tuesday dropped, and there was 206 vulnerabilities that were ultimately patched. There was 3 0 days that were actively being exploited in the wild, which is absolutely insane that in one patch alone, 3 0 days were patched. That means the window between vulnerability discovered and vulnerability weaponized is collapsed. There's no time. We used to have hours, we used to have minutes, and now we don't even have our seconds. It's just that fast. When every piece of your technology stack is a potential gap, you need a system, a solution that can reason across everything in real time. So without further ado, let's head into the interview with Aqsa Taylor, Chief Security Evangelist at Exaforce. My guests today, they've been in the trenches. They've been in the trenches helping cybersecurity teams, security teams, technology teams at large learn how to use technology to be a little bit better at their job and their program. My special guests for this episode, they've been part of successful startups and also part of exits. And they're coming at this one from a new perspective, what everybody is talking about right now, agentic SOC or AI SOC, you name it. And the company that we're going to be really focusing and shining a light on today is Exaforce. And I have the pleasure of welcoming Aqsa Taylor, who is the Chief Security Evangelist at Exaforce. Aqsa, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ron. Thank you. Thank you. I am so excited and honored to be speaking here with you.
I am honored to have you on. It's a pleasure. It's been great getting to know you, just number one. And I know that you've been super busy with Gartner and many other speaking engagements. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. I've been a fan of your show, and I love the authenticity and the conversations that you bring to security industry. So being here is like a dream come true. I'm super excited. Thank you.
I love what y'all are doing at Exaforce, and I love the space of, AI and SOC. Y'all have 125 million reasons to be celebrating right now and gaining customers. Big congratulations on the recent funding. Where's all that money going from your perspective?
So definitely product growth, right? So we already have a solid product. Now we want to make sure that more SOC teams around the world are equipped with the same defense and are equipped with the same capabilities. And so that means expanding also our MDR team. We provide a SOC platform and MDR service, expanding our GTM team, and all over just making sure that more and more defenders out there are equipped with an agentic SOC platform that is their partner and not just a tool.
When we spoke, you mentioned there's a knowledge graph, there's going to be global expansion, which I think is a given for, that sheer amount of funding. And then there's also the MDR as well. So tell me a little bit about the knowledge graph and the MDR component. Like how do those relate to what you all are doing at Exaforce?
Yes, we believe the winning model for SOC is agentic SOC platform that Exaforce provides, and I'll talk a little bit about the technology in a bit, but also the NDR service, the human accountability to help equip you with that trust and with that human assurance of people looking at your environment, actively providing you reports and actively taking care of those issues for you. So that is the winning model in our opinion, which is why Exaforce provides both an agentic SOC platform and an MDR team that uses the same SOC platform that we provide to you as a platform. Now, the knowledge graph is how we really differentiate. So before people jump into using AI for whatever, let's say triaging your false positives or helping you reduce noise or enriching your signal and all of that, the data needs to be there for those models to be more accurate and to have more assured results on. But if the data is missing the context that is required by these models, then the agentic models, you can't really rely on them with that same assurance and confidence. So what we really focused on is how we build that semantic knowledge graph. The signals that we take go beyond events. So the knowledge graph takes into account identity, configuration, code, all these additional things into account, and then layers and enriches your events on top of them. So you have the assurance and confidence that when the platform says something is critical, it's truly critical and not a false positive.
I wanted to hear from you, one of the leaders in the space. What is AI SOC in today's world?
So I'll tell you what the usual messaging sounds like, and then I'll tell you what I think it should really be. I wrote a report on AI SOC for MDR, and typically the pitch I would get for AI SOC is we help you triage alerts, we help you reduce noise, we sit on top of your existing SIEM, and we can help you make it more efficient. Which is great. I'm not taking away the importance of that because the alert fatigue is real on that side of the house. But I think we can do more with AI, and it should be an entire life cycle strategy, not just triaging, but also in detections. Like, how can we leverage agentic platform to show you gaps that maybe your SIMs cannot catch? And how can we use that to further enhance and predict, have better behavioral models, like your anomaly behavior, like comparing a person not just to their normal activity, but to their peers' normal activity. And so having that context and then spreading it across detection, triage, investigation, and response is what true agentic SOC platform should provide. Not just stop in one side of that cycle, but end to end help you give that assurance and guarantee that it can really help you with respond as well.
I worked at companies that tried to build their own phishing solution, and then that blew up. And then I had a great idea. I was like, oh, okay, great. I will work for the SOAR companies. And then that will give them the ability to manage all their workflows. And I think it gave them a little bit more control, but it didn't give them the ability to execute end to end while also managing it, because maintaining your playbooks became a full-time job. Is it different with AI SOC? Like, is it a full-time job to like maintain what goes in there, the decisions, or is that automatically figured out from the AI?
This is where the quality of the AI SOC platform will come into play, and also via the context and the real-time graph comes into play. Because if you look at an AI SOC platform that's more focused on reprioritization or false positive reduction or triaging, it's probably dependent on the events that are coming from the upstream providers like SIM platforms, XDRs, and all. So that means it doesn't have that additional business context, identity relationships, it doesn't have configuration, and it doesn't have its own detections for coverage gaps, like maybe SaaS applications, GitHub, etc. So that means all of that is somebody's responsibility manually to provide to that platform. Versus why we built Exaforce this way is to remove that responsibility and take it in-house on the platform. So now the Exabot in front of you will go through all of these different aspects of a threat. So not just like, hey, it's an IOC match, but like, okay, this user, how long they've been, who's their manager, what is the identity relationships, what Google files they have access to, what they have access, what they've shared externally, and then build the entire analysis for you.
I have to jump in for a second to share some details about our sponsor for this episode, Exaforce. One attacker with AI now operates like 100 attackers. Most SOCs, they still operate at the scale of their headcount. That's the asymmetry that every security team has been fighting for the beginning of time. Legacy SIMs and bolt-on AI tools, they weren't built for this life. They weren't built for this challenge. They constructed context after the alert fires. They perform hundreds of queries and many minutes of investigation, and by then, it's already too late. The attack's already within motion. Exaforce takes a different approach. They build a real-time security knowledge graph the moment that data lands in your environment. They connect identities, permissions, code, and cloud activity as they happen. What they have is a multi-model AI system. They have 4 Exabots across detection, triage, investigation, and response. That means 90% fewer false positives, 95% faster investigations, and your average time to alert to response is now sub 30 minutes. Run the platform with your team or let their analysts run it as your MDR. Exaforce is the agentic SOC built to give defenders the advantage. To learn more, you could visit exaforce.com. Thank you, Exaforce, for sponsoring this episode. Now let's get back to the interview. Being in the security solution space, I know that everyone has a lot of tools, especially in the enterprise. You all are probably working with, especially the enterprise, for people that have XDR or, whatever the case is for detection and response. They already have a SIM and they have all these other tools for attack surface management and exposure management. And they ask you, like, where does Exaforce and AI SOC fit in? Can I replace something? Do I keep everything and then spend more? What's the thought process and what's typically communicated there?
So my personal style, and I'm not in sales, but I will just say how I like to understand things is what's the use case, right? So let's look at some of the recent attacks. Let's say the HackerBot Claw attack campaign. That one was not a typical detection on AWS or CloudTrail. It was on GitHub, okay, a SaaS platform, and it was in a PR, like a pull request. The way malicious code was injected was through pull requests. And so those kinds of attacks are not typically detected in a legacy SIEM platform. Well, maybe if you may have your cloud security platforms that are different, and then you have your SOC platforms that are looking at events and audit trails. But then where do you bridge these things together? Because you, as a SOC defender or SOC analyst, I like calling defenders, you are responsible for now managing this, right? You're responsible for bridging that story. You're responsible for acting upon it. Like, hey, what is the radius of impact and how do I respond to this? So Exaforce brings that to you in one place and adds additional layer on top of it. All these attacks are happening fast and happening at scale, and you need a platform that also responds to the same speed and scale in near real time.
Do you feel more comfortable, confident, or less comfortable and confident with the fact that there's software generating software through AI agents? Like, is it more secure, the technology that the agents are building?
If there is a senior software engineer, he knows what he's doing and he's using AI for vibe coding parts of his tasks, I would have more confidence because of his skill set than someone who is just doing like a college project, doesn't have any clue, and has given AI the complete reins to do whatever it wants and just vibe code something without any quality gates. I would say a risk still with vulnerabilities, but the question is how fast now we have to respond to it, right? What's different now with vibe coding is that it's just happening at a much faster scale, and it's done so much more faster. And this is an example and a real example of why we need to rethink our strategy and why SOC in 2026 looks different from SOC in 2020.
You know, it reminds me of giving people automation. When you look at something like AI, especially from a security operations perspective, you want those team members to have the best access to tools. Like if the best access to a tool is autonomous platform that could dynamically bring you in information and give you a better understanding, then I think it's hard to say that you're replacing the job. You're giving someone a superpower.
You're giving them a leverage. Yes. And I love how you said it. It's not just level one. Can we move beyond it? It's 2026. Like we need to move beyond we are automating level one or cut down jobs from the SOC analysts. No, it's more like if you think about internet, this is a weird analogy, but internet kind of did not take away teachers or, we still have teachers and schools and colleges and all of that. It just made us much more efficient and people learn to get the results faster, learn faster, and use it as a platform that helps you scale your knowledge and your expertise much faster. And that's what we're doing to SOC. We are bolstering your SOC team so that they're not wasting time in trying to do all this manual work, stitching your correlations, trying to write detection rules, but making it easier with like natural level language. You have an hypothesis, you ask in natural language, and then you watch the bots create the hunt.
Speaking of hunt, I know that you all have pioneered and kind of imagined a new phrase and a new concept, which I think is sexy. It's called vibe hunting. And I'm like, okay, like I want to do a little vibe hunting. What goes into that?
Essentially, the idea is that the teams could use agents or Exaforce platform that automatically, first of all, has this like threat center feed. So every time there is a news article, we have like inbuilt feeds that we look at and all the customers are informed like, okay, there is this attack that happened, but now let's look at the IOC matches. So everything happens automatically. And then when there is a match, you can easily investigate and the bots can threat hunt for you so that the context that it takes from the identity, configuration, code, and your events, it bridges all of that and then shows you like if you are impacted, then what should have happened, what may have happened, like what happened, and then who, what, where, all those details. And this happens like so quickly because you're not tapping on your team members for that cloud context that is missing on your event.
We are dominated by the SaaS world, right? Like everybody's using SaaS, Slack, Google Workspace, Microsoft Teams, like all these are SaaS platforms, and all of these have file sharing capabilities and sensitive data that you can expose and leak through these platforms. So like when you're looking at something like just the sheer amount of apps that the enterprise has, like within Exaforce, are you able to pull all the Slack logs, pull all the Google Workspace logs, and then tell me if you see anything interesting?
Yes. So let me give you an example, right? Let's say a traditional platform will tell you a file was shared or open to the public or whatever. It won't tell you the historical context, like who created that file, where was it living, who had access to it, who is managing it, and then is there any PII, whatever. All of that kind of information, you would go to a DLP or something else to really learn about it. With Exaforce, you get the entire mapping. So looking back into the history, okay, this file, this person, usually their team interacts within this folder and they share files, and this is what the normal behavior looks like. So now let's switch it to what would happen if a North Korean actor posed to be an employee and joined a company. Well, on day one, if you're looking at just the user behavioral baselining, you would look at their activity and you would then form the baseline. But maybe they're malicious from day one. Like maybe on day one, they're trying to do lateral movement. They're trying to see how they can exploit their access to gain privileged information. Maybe some of that information, depending on their work role, is available to them, but they shouldn't really be sharing or constantly downloading from that particular file. So we form the baseline not just for the user, but also for the peers. So when someone joins, if they start acting out of the normal baseline on day 1 or 2 or 3, and we compare that to the peers in the same team and how they don't do the things this person's doing, then we start looking deeper into it and start flagging things. So that way, if there is an insider threat that happens in the very early stage of their joining the company, you can still detect it. So that level of detail and visibility is what helps our users to understand if something is truly critical or something is a normal behavior for the team.
What is it in your world? Like, in what situations is it very wise for security analysts, engineers to not outsource quite yet?
It comes down to if you've built that confidence, even if it's in a platform or a person. So if it's someone, whether you're MDR service, your own in-house SOC analyst, or an agentic platform, you can't go from 0 to respond to all tickets for me, So you kind of build that strategy from the beginning of okay, are you confident on the triaging? Are you confident with the things that it says are false positives versus critical? So let's say you're confident with the accuracy of that triaging. Then you move on to the quality of the detections. Are you confident on what types of detections are coming in from the platform? Then you go into the investigation, in the end-to-end analysis of a threat hunt, how much assurance do you have on the analysis part of it, on the layers that it's looking at? Then you move to respond, because then you can have automation agents. In our case, in Exaforce, you have Exabot response or automation agents that help you respond to these as well. But that comes with building that confidence. And thankful for us, we have had customers who are in response, actually using response and not just using us for detection or triage or analysis. And one of these customers has even publicly mentioned this in our RSA conference, that they have. We did a panel during RSA conference that they actively use it for response, for some of the response actions as well. So that is where we are now. I don't think that it's impossible to use an agentic platform for that level of semi-autonomy, not full autonomy, but it is possible, but with the right confidence level. So I wouldn't suggest you use your Claude created platform.
I think that's generally the gateway into stuff like this, right? You first start by looking at all the tools and solutions that you have, and then you take the same step that we were hearing about last year, and you put an LLM wrapper around all your data, And then you start to discover things like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know that I didn't know about these things, or I didn't know that I didn't know about my process. I didn't know we didn't have a incident response process, even though I am the incident responder. Things start to click. What is the first thing, if, everyone generally does this, they try to go about it themselves and then they cry for help. If you were to even try it by yourself, what is one use case that you think would be worth like kind of showing the value in something like this?
Look at threat hunting. I think that's a good example. I mean, the triaging, the filtering, enriching, normalization. Yes, you can also go there, but I find threat hunting quite like fun and I mean, not if you're actually in a threat, impacted by a threat, but see how you can go to our Substack. Actually, there's some good examples if you want to know how to start. There are some like detection quick playbooks there that you can use as well, that we worked with, that I worked with other practitioners to create. So that's a good place to, if you're just trying to see how do I start, how do I use something like Claude, non-Exaforce, just in general, trying to learn how AI can be used in your day-to-day SOC operations. I think that's a great place to understand these attack campaigns and use AI in some ways. And I would say beyond that, you will still hit a limitation, because maybe you can do something like IOC collection and scrape blogs or articles. But if you're looking for like a continuous loop and it being a part of your feed and it being something more proactive than reactive, that's when you want to use something like Exaforce, because then you're moving away from having to do that automation yourself again and again, and kind of trusting a kind of like a live agent that will now do it for you.
I love that sentiment. Like, just get a partner that can help you be proactive rather than only reactive. I've been there so many times in my career, and it's absolutely dreadful. We got to talk about, in simple terms, what it is that you all do better than anybody else. And I feel like we've already been kind of talking about that. And what is the best way for someone to get started to learn more about Exaforce?
Sure. Exaforce is an agentic SOC platform. We help you become 10 times more efficient in your entire SOC strategy. That means not just triaging, not just detection, but detection, triage, investigation, response, all the way end to end. Not just depending on events from your upstream providers, but also having inbuilt house detections and having a live real-time security graph that is correlating all these pieces together in near real time. And we also take configuration, identity, code, and all the other factors into account on top of events. We also provide an MDR service, so you get that assurance and human accountability on top of the platform. You can learn more about us at our website, exaforce.com. Make sure you follow our LinkedIn, Exaforce, and maybe also connect and follow with me. I would love to connect with you and continue this discussion even beyond this. If you're looking for a community, we have a practitioners community on Substack called the Force Multiplier Substack. And the idea here is that we don't talk about vendors, we don't talk about platform names. We just talk about sharing knowledge. So if you have playbooks, if you have experience in detection engineering or threat hunting campaigns, you just share knowledge with the other community, and we invite you to participate and write and collaborate on reports and articles there. So check out our reports there. There's some on OpenClaw, HackerBot Claw, GitHub governance, and also on how to use Claude and some open tools out there too. But share knowledge, because this is a team sport and we're all defenders.
We are all defenders. And if you are looking for a partner in the AI SOC space, you got to hear it from Aqsa Best. I mean, wow, you all are building something really cool. I mean, it sounds like it's going to transcend just outside of focusing on the SOC, looking at all those things and use cases that you just described. So I'm wishing y'all nothing but the best. So you definitely better check out Exaforce. And Aqsa, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day. I know that you're super busy. I know you got some more speaking engagements coming up, but big thank you to you. All right, let's sit with something that Aqsa said and really give it all the airtime that it deserves. She said the data has to be there first, before the agents, before the automation, before any of it. Think about what that actually means. If your knowledge graph is missing context, then the model starts to fill in those blanks with what it knows. And that is often what we consider to be hallucination. It's taking a guess as something that isn't actually correct. That's where false confidence gets baked directly into your platform. And then your analysts start to read and react to this and ultimately act on it. I've spent years watching the industry chase the next tool, and every generation is the same promise: reduce the noise, cut the alerts, make analysts' lives easier. And every generation, honestly, the noise just gets louder. We end up with more alerts, more information, and ultimately more burnout. What Aqsa said described this fundamental difference. She said, this isn't the layer that you just bolt on top of your existing stack and you call it a day. We wish that's how it worked, but that's not how really anything works in life. This system, it starts correlating identity, configuration, and code the moment the data comes in. So again, you need the data. If you're not organizing and collecting data and making sure that it's all accurate, then you're going to ultimately be getting garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. So here's my final take. The analysts who are going to thrive, especially in this era, are the ones who stop thinking that AI is a tool and it's a tool that just works for me. It's magical. It thinks for me. I don't have to think anymore. They look at it as a partner that requires trust to be built. And the way that you build trust is providing context, information, and building a relationship over time, not expecting it day one. Aqsa said it herself. You don't just hand the keys over to anybody day one. That was just delusional. You earn the confidence and then you get better over time, better with evidence. So a big shout outs to Aqsa for joining us today. A big shout outs to Exaforce for sponsoring this episode. Make sure you check out the links in the show notes or description wherever you're listening or watching. And if you're not already subscribed to Hacker Valley Media, be sure to click on that subscribe button now. What are you waiting for? And with that, we will see everyone next time.